Mark, it's day 13 of our Skoolaborate project, and you've worked both with the Bamaga students and our youth justice students. Would you like to draw a comparison between the two?
Between the two groups of students? I think sometimes when we say Indigenous kids, we tend to label them all in the one bucket, and sometimes I think we make some judgments about their potential and we lump those together too. The kids in Bamaga were they're so smart. Their capacity to pick up on the new technologies and to engage with each other and help each other with the work and the tasks that we set were just, it was infectious. Here, you could be forgiven, I think, for feeling a little despondent when the kids first rock up, because they don't really feel like, you don't really get the sense that they're really yearning to be there like the Bamaga students did. But I think that these kids really want to do some interesting things, and they want to learn, and they want to, they just don't want to appear too excited by opportunities, you know. Deep down, they want to go away having achieved something. And if you just say to them, oh, how do you feel about the work that you're doing? The response you might get might be just a nod or a grunt or a bit of an eye roll. But if you persevere, there's some really deep thinking going on there. It's just also, I think, the fact that we're only working with them for a short amount of time, it's hard to build up that level of trust and respect. And so they're coming to you and you're the teacher, and maybe you're a bit of an authority figure and school hasn't been that great to them or whatever. But just the kids here from youth justice, just as capable as those kids in Bamaga. They just need a little bit more scaffolding, perhaps a little bit more support in terms of taking risks with their learning.
No, that sounds good. And look, the level of engagement has improved. In talking to their carers, they were saying that they find it very difficult to be engaged in anything for more than a couple of hours. Well, that certainly hasn't been the case here. What have you seen in terms of their commitment to the project?
I think their commitment is commensurate with the effort that the teachers and the carers put in when they're working with them, because I think that some well-planned lessons which are intended to have fairly open outcomes and aren't too restrictive would provide these kids with some freedom and guidance to persevere with the task. I think you've also got to be ready to gauge the mood of the room and change the activity or adjust things accordingly. I think anyone who comes in with a lesson plan written down, and this is what I hope to achieve at the end of the lesson, might be a little disappointed, because the outcomes might be better than expected, but they just might not be the outcomes that you were originally thinking that you might get. So
flexibility is the key with the group of at-risk students that we have?
Yeah, I think so. I think the flexibility is the key with both cohorts of kids that we've worked with. They are excited to be there, but they, like regular kids, they don't want to tell you if they don't get it all the time. They're more likely to perhaps sit there and a bit of work avoidance. So I think as the teacher, you've got to be there just to sort of say, hey, that's great, or can you explain this to me, or what are you thinking about now, or what are you going to do next? Just to kind of keep the imagination fired up. And flexibility is certainly the key. And with language and Photoshop and Skoolaborate, you've just got a recipe to create some really flexible learning experiences for these kids.
Thanks, Mark. Your expertise has been just amazing.